Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Citywire AI Rising, where we explore the huge impact of artificial intelligence with innovators and thought leaders who are shaping its future. I'm Richard Lander and I'm joined today by Walter Maria Pasquarelli, who has advised organisations including the UN, the World Economic Forum, and some of the world's largest companies on AI strategy and governance. And yes, I did polish my introduction with the help of AI. So, Walter, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's dive right in with the here and now with AI, because things seem to be getting faster and faster. Every week we've got a new model, we've got deeper learning, not just deep learning, new capabilities. Is this a really big step change we're seeing at the moment?
I've been working in the field of AI for nearly 10 years now, and there's always been these moments where we thought, okay, something big is about to happen, notably in 2015 when DeepMind released AlphaGo, and there's sort of like represented a milestone in the capabilities of AI. Another big milestone was, of course, with the launch of ChatGPT in late 2022. But I would say that in the past year, there is almost a bit of a feeling in the air. Everyone has a sensation that we're about to approach a major breakthrough. And I've been trying to really reflect on why that is the case. On the one hand, there is, of course, a lot of media attention for these tools. Everyone is jumping onto the bandwagon. It has really captured the public imagination of what these tools are capable of, in some parts because they affect us all personally, whether that's in our jobs, whether that's in our social and personal interactions. A lot of people make use of be it a chatbot like ChatGPT or anything provided by Mistral. And so it's hit home on some level.
Right. So where does this put us on the path to AGI? Maybe explain quickly what that is, although there's lots of different definitions. When do we get there? Does it matter if we get there?
AGI is a theoretical concept, first of all. So it doesn't exist yet, but it refers to artificial general intelligence, which means effectively an AI that has the same level of intelligence as any human has. And that's also, in my opinion, where these claims start to showing their first cracks. So we look at logical reasoning, abstract reasoning, physical or kinetic intelligence, emotional intelligence, social intelligence. These are all various aspects of intelligence that make us up as a human. AI at the moment is pretty good in logical, very good in reasoning, to some extent also very good at emotional or social intelligence. But as far as physical intelligence is concerned, which is one of the key components that make us humans, there it absolutely falls short because we haven't integrated these tools into robotics yet. So while we will be seeing major advancements in artificial intelligence from the perspective of increasing logic, let's say intelligence in absolute terms, the real artificial intelligence, where it sort of provides a holistic, comprehensive type of intelligence that we humans have, that is something that I don't think will come anytime soon. The majority of forecasts say 2 to 3 years for AGI. I think for the full picture of intelligence comparable to what us humans have, that's going to be at least another 5 years.
Right. Jobs are going to go, jobs are going to be created. Let's talk about that. I mean, how do you see things?
Yeah. So the first thing to say is that automation anxiety and fear of job loss is really nothing new. I mean, it started, I think, in the 1930s. There was a famous article called "The Threat of the Machine Age," which was published by the New York Times, where it was talking about this inevitable job losses. Later on, I believe it was in 1967, the Lyndon Johnson administration received a memo called the Triple Revolution Report, in which all these famous academics and scientists were warning about social and economic disruption that will be caused by technologies. And since then, there's always been, on an almost like predictable basis, a new study that has been published about artificial intelligence disrupting the job market. Now, some things have changed, and it's the fact that historically, what kept us relevant has been our intelligence. So we were able to adapt because of our intelligence and find different pockets within the economy where we would be able to create new opportunities. If artificial intelligence were to surpass our intelligence, in some areas at least, that means that our main competitive advantage is effectively taken away. Now, is this happening? That is a different question. I don't think we're at the stages where we can say, oh, all of our jobs are going to be taken away.
Is China the inevitable AI winner? And I'm not just thinking of AI itself, but what they're doing in robotics and self-driving cars.
Now, China had tariffs, was put tariffs on, first by the Biden administration, now expanded by the Trump administration. Particularly chips seems to be an area of great competition. What this has created has been constraints. Constraints on China on what it can navigate, to what extent it can actually develop its ecosystem. But the irony there is that the constraints seems to have been a competitive advantage. When we have too many choices, too many policy options, we increase the risk of either doing the wrong one, or worse, we do the right one and think it was the wrong one. And China has been very good at navigating that. Now, we can look at fields like robotics and AI, and China was very good at industrial robotics already in the past years. But because they faced necessity of increasing their own capabilities, they've now put in place school programs that will require students at schools to have 8 hours a week of AI. They've now made massive investments into their own AI ecosystem, as we saw with DeepSeek, as we saw with Manus AI. What that means is that China themselves are putting a lot of resources in making these tools mainstream, in pushing a new narrative that they are now ready, willing, and able to compete with the West on AI.
All right. Let's turn to creativity, which we do a lot of at Citywire. So there's two aspects. Is it stealing all our creativity, and is it, another effect of that, have we reached peak brain because we're just going to rely on AI to do everything?
What AI now does is basically it just makes it faster and more efficient, but it doesn't quite reach the same quality, I would argue. As far as creativity is concerned, we can see essentially 3 levels of AI-generated outputs. The lowest one is what I think will become most widespread, which is effectively a ton of AI-generated content, very cheap, kind of not very well done, but because everyone has access to these tools, it will become effectively widespread. Layer number 2 is AI and humans working together, and I think that's where most of the commissioned work of different organizations will fall on. And then there's sort of a small layer of like entirely human-generated content, which is going to be increasingly disincentivized to be produced effectively because of price. Now, have we reached peak brain activity? My view is that when the production cost goes to 0, it doesn't mean that we don't have a role anymore, but effectively it means that other variables will be more important. One of them being taste, one of them being, okay, we have all these outputs, which one do we pick? Which one are relevant? Perhaps the more important question is that while we can acknowledge that using too much AI decreases cognitive skills, there's some studies on that, is the issue of copyright. And how do we reward the people that actually provided the art and the creativity in their work as an input?
So finally, you said there's been all this hype. We're now, 2.5 years into ChatGPT and what that triggered. But still, there was a survey from Pew last week that said only a minority of people in the States, admittedly, have used AI, and even fewer use it regularly. Is there a killer app out there that can rocket boost AI so that most people will use it every day?
Yeah, I don't think there is any kind of specific killer app that is out there beyond the ones that we've already seen. There might be one in the future, but I think the key thing is to understand the trajectory of AI at the moment, and it's kind of going in 2 directions. One is improvements in intelligence in absolute terms, so effectively AI tools becoming better and better at making calculations, better at creating copy, better at writing, better at even creating music. And the other one is improvements in interactiveness. And that means the way that we communicate with them. That means that we can increasingly, after a while, integrate some of these AI tools in our everyday life and effectively make them more useful. Book me a train ticket to this place. Reply to this message that I really didn't want to reply for a few weeks. Support me with these things that I'm struggling with in personal life, which is becoming a huge topic. Mm-hmm. So I think that there is maybe an app out there that we might increasingly use as an assistant, that we might integrate into our AirPods, into our devices, but there's going to be an avalanche of AI-generated content that we will consume just as much as human-generated one, and we'll like it in exactly the same kind of manner.
On that note, Walter, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Richard.